What's up, YouTube world? Alright, so we're gonna make a easy, quick version of the nitrogen cycle because the other one confused the hell out of me even. But yes, we're gonna talk about it real quick. So we're gonna talk about the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen cycle, there's aerobic bacteria because it's in areas with lots of flow. We're talking about, you know, in the aquarium world here. It's in a lot of flow, it's well oxygenated, a lot of aerobic bacteria. The fish poop, which is ammonia. Aerobic bacteria eats ammonia, which turns it into nitrite with an I, which also aerobic bacteria continuously to eats it and turning it into this nitrate with an A, right? And then in a perfect aquarium world, anaerobic bacteria continues the nitrogen cycle by eating nitrates and turning it into nitrogen gas, which will then escape out of the water surface into the atmosphere if housed properly. Aerobic bacteria. So in our traditional aquariums, because we have such high water flow, because we want our fish to breathe, not be at the surface gasping for air all the time, we are providing a lot of flow. We have wave makers, we have overhang, we have a swamp filter, you know, pushing a lot of water back into the aquarium, which is making a lot of flow and all this good stuff. So we're providing a very high oxygenated environment. So we have a whole lot of anaerobic bacteria growth. Wait, this is the wrong sponge. Correct sponge. So we have a whole lot of aerobic bacteria growth, right, in our traditional aquariums. This is a whole lot, right? So if we take this sponge, you know, we could fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, we could fit like 10, 20 of these in this, right? So basically, we have a whole lot of this, right? So the fish will poop in the water, right? The aerobic bacteria that colonize this sponge is breaking all that fish poop, ammonia, into nitrite with the I, right? And then it's breaking that down into nitrate with the A, right? In our traditional aquariums, we have a lot of this, but very little aerobic bacteria. So basically, we have enough aerobic bacteria to break everything down, ammonia-wise, but when it's all broken down into nitrate, we do not have enough anaerobic bacteria to keep up with the nitrates, to breaking it down, releasing it into nitrogen gas to the atmosphere, and all the way it goes. Goodbye, right? Right. So the problem is trying to house enough of this where it actually benefits us. So the problem is we cannot house this bacteria well or in enough quantities where it's, you know, the same amount of this and the same amount of this to break this all down so it all works in one big circle, right? We have enough of this to break it down to nitrates. So what we do is we have a test kit. Let's put Na for nitrates with the A, right? We are allowed to have anywhere from 0 ppm to 40 ppm safely. Anything above 40 is danger. I don't know, danger. So there's danger anything above 40 ppm. Alright, so what do we do? Alright, so we have our water, and it gradually, so the Na gradually rises. And then what we do a water change, right? And that cuts it down back to, let's say, here's 40. So let's now it's 20. And then it gradually rises again, and then we cut it again, right? Right. So this is what we do. We intervene with the nitrogen cycle by removing the nitrates with water changes. But if we could actually house enough anaerobic bacteria like we do aerobic bacteria and have the same size colony, if not even more, let's say this is a big sponge, bigger than the anaerobic bacteria, but we want to find a balance, that's for sure. then this would actually be eaten, turned into nitrogen gas, which will go into the atmosphere. So instead of having to do water changes because of Na, nitrates, you have enough of anaerobic bacteria also eating away at the nitrates doing its job. It might be like this. Now let's say you add plants. Ooh, I need a different pen. And let's say you add plants. See what I'm doing there? Instead of very slowly going up, it finds a balance. Because in the wild, everything works as one whole unit. You got critters, you got plants, you got everything doing what it needs to do to work as one big ecosystem. And the nitrates in the wild never go above 5 ppm. Because plants do need nitrates, it's the A, for nutrients, but when it gets above 40, it can even be dangerous to plants, to fish, to all wildlife. It does start to get toxic over 40 ppm, so we definitely want to keep it below that, but we want to find a way so our ecosystem is one whole unit working well, instead of having to intervene by doing water changes. Right? Because let's say you're trying to make a 6.0 pH soft soft water tank, right? And your tap is 7.2, and you always have to do water changes. That 6.0 is going to be extremely hard to maintain. But if you can get a system where it actually runs itself and you don't have to do water changes, or maybe once every 6 months, where it starts to get to 40 instead of, in a week, you know what I mean? 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month. So this is 2 months. This is only 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So it's already, you know what I'm saying? So changing with the parameters of the water by doing water changers, if you have buffers or anything, trying to keep the water low pH, or trying to keep high pH water and your tap is neutral. It's kind of hard to do if you're doing a lot of water changes every week. So this hopefully clarifies the nitrogen cycle. We need more of this, but we need to learn how to house it correctly in an aquarium, which we definitely cannot do in the display tank, but we can definitely do it in a canister filter or a swamp filter in a special design that can house this. And yeah, I'm pretty sure anything, even an overhang filter, if allowed to be clogged, it's so clogged the water doesn't really flow through it anymore, it just kind of flows over it, that it will house anaerobic bacteria. But the sense is, you have this much aerobic bacteria and this much anaerobic bacteria. It will not make a difference on how fast this will go up. You do not have enough of this. You would need this anaerobic bacteria to do something with this, because we do like to have a lot of fish and we do like to feed our fish. So this is definitely breaking it all down. Boom. This is not keeping up. We have to up our sources and figure something out. Alright, YouTube, that's how the nitrogen cycle works. You got fish poop going into ammonia, into nitrite with the I, into nitrate. We do water changes, 50% once a week, 30% once a week, depending on your load and whatnot, to keep these in check under 40 ppm. Maybe we can learn how to house anaerobic bacteria and actually complete the nitrogen cycle 100% and relieve all the bad stuff, nitrogen gas, into the atmosphere, and our system's working really well. And yes, alright. Well, alright, YouTube, I wish everybody an awesome night, and y'all be good. Laters.